This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Next up, and this feels oddly familiar lately, it's Edge and Randy Orton. As a part of the 2010 draft on April 26, Edge goes to Raw, and later that night, Edge interferes in a match to determine the number one contender for the WWE title, when he speared Randy Orton and cost him the match. The following week, Edge hosts his own talk show, which they're calling The Cutting Edge. He has Orton as a special guest, and of course, during the show, Edge is going to try to justify his actions by saying he was trying to make an impact and attempts to convince Orton to reform their old tag team Rated RKO. Orton ain't having it, and he attacks Edge. The following week, Orton would defeat Edge and Ted DiBiase in a handicap match, which then leads to a Pick Your Poison match on the May 17th Raw, where Edge and Orton pick each other's opponents for the night. Edge would have to face The Undertaker and loses intentionally by countout, while Orton faces Jack Swagger and loses by DQ when Edge interferes. And that brings us to this match. They go 12 minutes and 49 seconds. Orton gets a loud initial female shrieking pop when he comes out, but then it dies down. But it's so much so that even Lawler acknowledges it on commentary. Ultimately, Edge gets a double count out with Randy Orton in 12 minutes and 49 seconds. Meltzer would say, Orton then went to set up the RKO and started punching the mat. That's when his right shoulder got dislocated by punching the mat. Orton's arm was lifeless and he was pissed. Referee Jack Doan asked what was wrong. Then Orton went outside the ring and whispered to Edge what was wrong. Edge sets up Orton against the barricades, goes for the spear, but Orton moves. And at this point, both guys are counted out. It was a bad match, but understandable given the circumstances. Really unfortunate. I think they probably both had really high hopes for this, and it falls a little flat, but shit happens. But it feels like it's happening a whole lot during this show so far, Arn.
Yeah. And it's Murphy's Law. When it rains, it pours. And I remember that match and Randy popping his shoulder out. He had popped his shoulder out prior to that, and I'm not sure how many weeks. He just took a bump out over the top. And as he grabbed the top rope to go over, it jerked the shoulder out of place. He was working with Kane on a house show. I remember that. So he was really having some issues with that thing just popping out on just crazy times. And there's no way to judge that match or anything else knowing what happened. You just got to give them some credit for at least getting a finish in and be able to have some conclusion. Even though it's a flat finish, nobody's like kissing your sisters. Nobody's happy. But in the situation, if you've ever popped your shoulder out, you're not worried about if this makes sense from here on. Let's just get this over with and get to the back.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.